All these rumors are fun to talk about. And Red Bull hasn't blown up yet.
Alex Albon's birthday, and his gift, Logan Sargent's car.
With the drain covers, why is this such a big issue?
That's what I'm saying. Alonso more and more is looking like Aaron Rodgers.
He's geriatric. We just kind of want him for merit mark.
You cannot win a constructor's battle when your second driver is not performing.
Grab your popcorn, folks. Things are getting crazy.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Lights Out Latest. My name is Marina, and I'm here with Jason, Steven, and Tristan. Today we're just going to talk news. All news, so many headlines. Nothing major, though, which was weird for this week. Because I feel like every week we've had something that's been like, what in the...
Yeah, well, I think you could definitely point to that this season has, we talked about many a times, how this has been possibly one of the greatest F1 seasons of all time. And that's continuing into the off-season. So I think we're now at a point where it's like things are almost going back to normal in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's like now we're just sitting here like, nothing's happening now?
We're going to have, 6 rookies on the grid next year?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Something
Pretty
like that.
sure. Yeah.
Kimmy, Jack, Ollie, Liam.
Yeah.
I think I'd count Liam as a rookie.
In quotation marks.
The guy from...
first full season.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think you're missing one.
Who's the guy for Mercedes?
Bierman?
Kimmy. I said Kimmy.
I was going to say the
Ollie,
guy...
Jack.
Yeah.
Technically,
the Williams teammate?
Isaac Hadjaw.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Gabriel Bortoleto.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 5/6, depending on if you count Liam or not.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how these rookies adapt to cars. Now, F1 rookies are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is the most we've had in a while. Like, most we had was probably 2019. We had, 3, 4?
Three.
Yeah.
3? Yeah.
Lando, George, and Alex.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy how
many
many rookies we have in F1. That's more than a quarter. That's like
But I think it's because the longevity of an F1 driver is getting like longer and longer.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like in the past, they would start their F1 career at 30, right? And then obviously you only go for so long before, you know, your body can't take it anymore. And we talk about like with Fernando, like in his 40s, like when is he going to retire? Whereas now you're seeing like Max came into the sport at 17, like Kimi is 18, and these guys can go till they're 40, which is 20 years. Like that doesn't leave that many gaps open anymore for new rookies. I feel like more and more we're going to see it kind of happen almost all at a time, because I feel like people are going to start to retire in waves.
True. There's also, though, like the farm system in a way is like, but you only get like a couple years to actually perform, and then the next rookie will take your spot. You know,
Absolutely.
There is the unfortunate churn of, we're going to see it probably within the next 10 years. A lot of talent.
You mean you are going to IndyCar?
Yep.
It's you're a free agent. You will go to IndyCar.
Yeah. Goodbye.
You are now a Prima Racing IndyCar driver.
You now are going to WEC.
Yep.
Well, I think I think also there's something to be said about like now more and more we're hearing more about these categories. So maybe people will like go into their racing career wanting to race more in these categories. Yeah. F1's always going to be the pinnacle, but I think there's going to be more and more people that are just going to want to race in NASCAR, in IndyCar, in WEC, and everything like that. So we shall see.
I mean, especially with we talked about it last week with the new regs, not 26, but that too, but the new
swearing.
That's gonna be a big turnoff, I think, for a lot of people.
Well, speaking of new regs, let's talk about this new incoming technical directive on the flexi wings. It's supposed to be the Spanish Grand Prix, I believe. So it's like midway through the season. However, the top 4 teams from last season all very different effect. Like they're being affected in different ways. McLaren pushed for this rule. McLaren was like, "You fucked us over at the end of last year with our rear wing. We figured out how to change it. Now go fuck over everybody else." Like I'm cool with this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't have any issue. They also spoke out as to say that they were not happy with their development in 2024, and 2025 would be the year where you see what McLaren development's really capable of, which I think is wild.
Yeah. Hey, McLaren, man, watch out. We're coming.
Like that's insane. Then Ferrari, Mercedes made minimal changes, but shouldn't have too big an effect. Red Bull, on the other hand, definitely not happy with this. They've come out to say that their 2025 car is compromised.
Womp womp.
I'm shitting bricks over here.
Hey, it's
Pardon my French.
We laugh about it, but I'm seriously concerned about Red Bull these days.
Oh, I am too.
Yeah,
I
mean,
am too. And I think I think it kind of like as much as people want to see it, like I hate to see it, but I think a lot of people are really happy to see the downfall of Red Bull. However, I think what you're forgetting is even if you want to see Max not dominate, I feel like you still want to see Max compete because you still want to see 4 teams at the top.
Yeah.
Even now with Liam, I think he'll have a better shot competing at the top than Checo. And so you want to see 4 teams competing for wins. Like people loved the fact that you never knew who was going to win.
I mean, people would much rather be, to your point, like a team, especially like Red Bull, since they've been in it for so long. You would rather them be the 4th team, if you will, than have like a big gap between the top 3 and then the 4.
Well, yeah, I agree. But I think people are also hypocrites. People don't want to see Red Bull dominate because they don't like Red Bull. If it was half of the F1 community loves Lando Norris and would love to see Lando dominate, it would have no complaints if Lando dominated for 5 years.
I think nowadays, I think nowadays people wouldn't like that as much, especially because Lando was painted as a villain so much last season. I think people are gonna really not like Lando.
You think Lando was painted as a villain last year?
Absolutely.
I mean, I consider him my villain.
Towards the end, he definitely was. Like I've had some people say, "Oh, I don't like Lando anymore." Yeah, well, that's exactly why.
He was arrogant with no purpose.
He
we
got
talked
more
about
media
this.
time.
Case in point.
We've talked about this a lot. It was like he just won one race and was deciding to like use Simply Lovely and turned all arrogant. Like he was this new world champion. Like Max is a 4-time world champion and he stepped on you like a freaking bug on his shoe. Like you were destroyed with the better car. So there was no ego to be had there, and there was, which is why he was picked as the villain.
Go off, I guess.
Like it was possible, but ended up not
until
like Miami,
Max
Hungary,
won,
it looked really good. But
until Max won in Brazil.
Yeah, Max kept winning.
And won Moment of the Year at the Autosport Awards this year for that race.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Max was not there.
We were talking about this in the car. Yeah, he did not go to the awards. GP accepted the award on his behalf. To be fair though, I think he has. People were like, I saw people on TikTok and stuff asking like, why didn't he go? Like he was winning an award.
He don't care.
To be fair, I don't think he cares. B.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think
Autosport
he cares
is just
all
a
that much.
Journalist.
I was gonna say that's at the magazine, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's that he doesn't care.
It's not like the
it's
FIA.
Just,
It's not. I think he will avoid any media he doesn't have to be at.
Yeah.
And this is literally a media awards.
To be fair, he
ceremony.
he also has a lot of excuses.
Yeah.
Like he's a kid in the way. He's a new puppy.
Has a new boat.
Sorry, gotta go walk my boat real quick.
I'm out on the yacht. I will see you later.
Do a little sail.
And he wasn't the only one that didn't go. I think he was the only F1 driver that I saw that won an award and wasn't there to accept it on their behalf. Someone else accepted. I don't think that anybody else that I can think of that happened. But he wasn't the only F1 driver that didn't go. Like Charles didn't go that I know of.
Where was it at?
Wasn't there.
It was in London.
London?
Oh, London. Okay.
I would assume. Yeah.
Good old London.
Let's see.
But what I thought was really funny was Sky Sports covered the event, obviously, because they're based over in the UK.
Yep.
And they were doing interviews mostly with team principals because that's who was really there, right? Your Zach Browns, Andrea Stella, and Toto Wolff. And Toto had 2 things to say, which I disagreed with. Well, one I disagreed with. The other one was really funny. The first one was he said he agreed with the new FIA rules on defaming the FIA. I will.
That's some BS.
Exactly what he said because I actually I was like, what in the?
Well, let's recap the rule. I know we talked about last week, but it's kind of like you can't say bad about the FIA. Yeah. That's kind of it. Like,
it's a
you
big
can't
no-no.
speak against the FIA.
Yeah.
Publicly. I mean, I'm sure you could go yell at MBS in the WhatsApp.
I think about the flip side too. Would Toto really say that he doesn't agree with them? I mean, I feel like it's almost a PR move for him to say he does.
Oh, if there's anybody to say that he doesn't agree with them, it would be him because you look at Abu Dhabi 2021. That was probably the worst FIA move of all time, and it directly affected him.
Yeah.
So for him to come out and say, yeah, I think this is good, either means what you say, A, it's like PR, or 2, he actually thinks like these conversations need to happen outside of the media, not in front of the media.
I think though,
I'm just not buying
the more I study the field, I think we use the term like, oh, that's a PR move so much.
Yep.
But truly, the best PR moves are the ones that you don't suspect of being a PR move. The ones that are very subtle, or the ones that are very big, and that you don't even suspect. Like, there's no way that has to be true. Like, it's not a PR move.
Yep.
But what he said was, I think we want to see emotions in the car, and there's ways of showing that and not. We also have a responsibility towards our spectators, and I believe particularly the non-native ones, the British, often don't understand how grave or how nuanced a word can be. In that respect, any initiative is good, and if we stop some of that bad swearing, that's positive.
Okay.
I can agree with the swearing aspect of it in terms of viewership, right?
Yep.
But in the other sense, right, you are paying for Sky Sports F1, or you are paying for F1 TV, and that's the only two ways that you can watch the full press conference, correct? A lot of the interviews are broadcast mainstream or whatever, but, like, it's not... I haven't heard them cuss in an interview. I think the only ones we've heard are in press conferences. And nobody cares. Like, that's my thing. And, like, the fact that something off track can affect on track, that's my problem with the rule.
Yeah.
It was never about... like, what I can say or what I can't say or whatever. It's more just, like, the fact that what I say off track can affect whether or not I get to race. That is, like, a line too far for me.
They're using the cursing aspect as a very thinly veiled, like, curtain almost over the issue. Because they're like, oh, we want to promote, better antics or stuff like that. It's like, no, you're literally just trying to silence the drivers from saying it. The whole point of it is just for the FIA to not be like shown for what they actually are, I guess you could say. It's
Can you say dictatorship?
Yeah, I mean, literally.
You see,
You can throw that word around a lot
recently.
recently.
The other side of it is the saying goes is like public praise in public, criticize in private, right?
Yeah.
And right now, it's been a very public fight between the FIA and the drivers. And that doesn't mean they can't have meetings. Like, they have a drivers' meeting every race weekend with the race stewards and the race director.
I think the point that the drivers, the point that kind of like George made last year was clearly we're going nowhere criticizing in private. So we have to resort to criticizing in public because that's the only way things are going to get done.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Granted, it backfired on him and all of the drivers in a mega way because basically they put out a post. I do think this is directly related, right? Maybe people don't think that, but I think it's directly related.
I mean, it very well could be.
They put out a post. They criticize. If you like read that post, the more and more you read it, the more it's just like the president and the FIA or the president, like they're not directly attacking just the FIA, but Mohammed bin Salem. So he, behind everybody's backs, goes and says, you know what, you want to defame me in public, on social media, you want to have all the news outlets talking poorly about me and my organization? Here you go. Right? Now you can't do that anymore.
But
It's very, like, silencing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's literally...
But it's backlash. So...
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not good.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put that.
Yeah. Well, moving on from that a little bit, the other thing that I thought was really funny was Toto described seeing Lewis in the Ferrari like seeing your ex-wife after an amicable divorce.
I swear.
Like, you just got divorced and now you see your partner like out with another guy.
Toto is the
That's literally what he
king.
said. He was like, you see your partner out with another guy and it's like, that's weird, right? Or another girl.
Well,
It's like, it feels strange. You have that like weird feeling inside. But he's happy for him. That's essentially what he said. And I was like, you're hilarious.
He's the king of relationship comparisons.
Right?
It's
him and James Vowles, man.
Yeah.
That Mercedes organization.
Carlos Sainz. So of course he's gonna, I swear, talk about this thing at a time until his grave. Man, maybe even put it on his grave. What could have been Max Verstappen? Like, can we not?
I think that
At
he'll
least he
get
had
it.
Lewis,
Yeah.
But
I do-
now the succession plan is Antonelli
There's
and
no way.
Russell.
I
So
do.
without-
I don't think he's ever
100%.
gonna be satisfied. I really don't.
No, I don't think so.
I think that George has got to watch his back. Because if let's talk about this again, right? We just talked about the new directive with Red Bull potentially having a downfall.
Yep.
Max is loyal, but only to a certain point. And he also, at least to me, the money is not going to be the factor for him. The factor is going to be a competitive car. Because there's no reason for him to be, like, he's having a kid. Like, he already, there's Penelope, he's having another kid. And he talks a lot about family. There's no reason for him to be racing with the fourth best car. He's not going to do it. He is going to jump ship, in my opinion.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I think that this is what Toto wants. Like, Toto wants Red Bull's downfall. And then if I were George Russell, I'd be watching your back, because him and Kimi Antonelli are pretty tight. Him being Toto Wolff, they look like a real father-son duo for real. So you gotta
Tier
watch your
1
back.
George Russell not looking so good.
Tier 1 George Russell.
We'll see how
like
he
you say.
performs. The other guy's a rookie.
He's got to
He
outperform
beat
Kimi Antonelli.
Lewis in his first
big.
year in equal machinery. You know, there's a lot of good things going for George.
But I think George has to outperform. Like, say, and again, this is all hypothetical. But if
he has to beat Kimi. Yeah.
If Mercedes does really sign, if they were able to really sign Max, which is something that Toto's wanted to do for a long time, then George has to, in my opinion, drastically outperform Kimi to where it would make no sense for them to take Kimi over George. Because if not, if it's just minimal, I think they'd take Kimi.
Yeah, because
over
he's
George.
younger. Yeah.
He's younger. Yeah. He's younger. He's got that kind of father. People like see it. Like, if you see it in the garage and stuff, you'll see it kind of looks like a father-son relationship. So
I just thought about it this way. Here's a crazy what if. We've already heard it from Max's standpoint. Well, Lawrence Stroll's standpoint.
Yeah.
Max to Aston, as well as George to Aston.
George to Aston? I didn't hear that one.
No. That's just a hypothetical.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking about it in terms of Kimi Antonelli just blows the doors off. He does great, beats George first couple years.
That's kind of crazy.
Then you go into 26 with the new regs. Red Bull is falling apart. Max goes to Red Bull. Lawrence
Max
offers
goes to
him
Aston?
Yeah, Aston. Sorry. Lawrence offers him a massive contract, and then all of a sudden, George is not going to be a number 2 driver at Mercedes. So then, George goes to Aston. Then you have Max.
Max is in a position right now where he's the highest commodity on the market.
Yep.
There's no driver, even Lewis Hamilton with his 7 world titles, 6 if you ask me, is more of a hot commodity than Max because he's old, right? Yeah. He's aging out. I think Ferrari will be his last stop and he's out of here. Maybe 2 years, maybe 3. You're really pushing it.
Maybe 3 world championships sound pretty good to me.
We'll talk about that in a sec. Anyways.
Oh, I wanted to mention that Angela Cullinan is back.
Did we not talk about that last week?
I don't think we did.
Did we not
I
get
don't know
to
if we
talk about
touched
that last
on it.
week?
I'm not sure.
I thought we did, but
his personal trainer that left for some reason during
I think
a couple
we did
years
talk
ago,
about this last week.
like right after Abu Dhabi, I think. Like she left.
Yeah.
And then for the past few years, his super
on
close
the sheet
trainer
from last week,
that's been
okay.
with him for a very long time at Mercedes, left, became a trainer for Callum Ilott of all people in IndyCar.
Yep.
Even though she doesn't live in the U.S., she's from Australia. And then all of a sudden, surprise, out of nowhere, was spotted in the Ferrari garage with Ferrari kit with Lewis at the Ferrari filming day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
To bring back the old the razzle dazzle.
All the pieces are coming together. All the pieces are coming together.
What were we talking about, though?
3 world titles for Lewis.
No, before that. I was saying something. I was in the middle of a conversation.
About Max's motivation.
Yeah, Max being the biggest commodity in F1.
Yeah.
Correct. So, right. This is exactly what my point. Okay. So my point with that is if Red Bull goes down, every team on the grid is going to want him.
I would say...
Maybe with the exception of Ferrari.
Well, what teams can afford
I was going to say, I don't know. Would McLaren want him?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I
think if I was McLaren, I would stick to my guns, be smart, and keep my guys.
I think it will depend on their 2025 season.
Yeah. Well,
because if they again have the fastest car but they don't win it, then maybe it's time to look elsewhere because you can only stick with those two for so long.
But I don't think both those drivers are really that different than Max.
Whoa, hold on.
That's a wild accusation.
That's a hot take. Say that again.
I don't think both those drivers are that much different.
Why?
Than Max.
How? In what ways?
I mean, the only comparison we have is Sainz and Lewis. A multi-time world champion versus race winner but not world champion driver.
But
would McLaren make that move? Why would they change up their drivers that know their system that they know already?
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
No, but my point is, if they don't win the drivers, I don't think that there's loyalty. And more so than that, we've talked about this before. Oscar is no number 2 driver. He's good.
Yeah.
He will jump ship. I honestly think
like Oscar to Red Bull.
I honestly
and then,
think
like, Max to McLaren.
That would be insane.
It is more likely that Oscar jumps ship than McLaren drops him.
Yeah, but like, where would Oscar go?
Anywhere but McLaren.
I don't.
Known stake F1 team driver.
Yeah.
No.
Unless like Carlos Sainz does something crazy with Williams, and all of a sudden Oscar just goes to Williams. I mean, that's the only thing I could see.
I could see Oscar at Red Bull. I could see him at Mercedes.
Maybe I'm just thinking about this too much, but maybe we have to see more of it.
This is like, we're talking future,
no,
right?
Yeah.
We're talking very hypothetical here, but like,
regards tinfoil hats on.
I still think that a 4-time world champion is a hotter commodity than either Lando or Oscar, even if they already know the system.
Sure, yeah, but I don't know. I think
Especially
McLaren, as it currently stands, I think has the best driver lineup in the grid. I also believe they have the best future of every team in the grid.
I think they have the best future. I don't think they have the best driver lineup.
Meaning for the future, like.
I think they have the most potential.
As long as again,
yes, I don't think they have the best driver lineup.
They have the most potential going into, and again, this next year is going to be a really big tell.
Absolutely,
because you saw the success last year. Obviously, they won the constructors championship, and if it doesn't, not necessarily, I think a repeat needs to happen in the constructors in order to prove that they're consistently good. Yeah. But obviously, they kind of pissed away the drivers' title. Kind of. I mean, Max Verstappen is just that good, though. So I mean, it's just like.
Thank you.
But I don't think.
He says as Steven drinks a Red Bull.
There you go. Not branded.
No.
Unfortunately. But
Red Bull sponsor us.
No, I don't know. I think they have a good equation over there, and they don't. I understand, that Max Verstappen stake is very high. Like he would be sought after. God, if he would any team would want him, no matter what, Well,
that's my point.
But at the same time, though, like. I have a little bit of faith in Zach Brown having some loyalty to his guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he got tattoos for him, you know? I mean, stuff like that. So I think as a businessman, he's actually more loyalty-based, and I don't think he would actually pull that trigger. I really don't.
Let me rephrase. Every team would show interest and have conversation with Max Verstappen.
Absolutely.
Whether or not they offered is another question.
Yeah.
But I think, and again, this is me saying not going into 26. This is me saying, should McLaren not take home the drivers with the fastest car in 25? I think we're going to see more of a change than people would care to admit.
Yeah. My thing is, though, if, say, Oscar does leave, and then Max comes, there's no way, in my opinion, that Max would be teammates with Lando. I just don't see that happening.
The only way he'll be teammates with Lando is if he comes in as promised number 1.
Well, right, and Lando's not going to have that. We've seen that. I
think.
But Lando gives me, like, he gives Charles Leclerc vibes to where, like, he's not going to leave. It doesn't matter.
I don't think McLaren even has a designated number 1. I feel like that
Are you kidding?
No,
I don't think. Did we watch the same season?
We did. I really don't think they do.
I don't think they do
either. Both
either.
drivers performed to the exact same level as the number 1 driver. That is why McLaren is, in my opinion, and potentially Ferrari is going to be a good threat, which is what we saw last year. Obviously, Max, they built that lead to begin the season, but the numbers showed that if they were just as consistent in the beginning as they were in the end, the other teams, Red Bull was the 3rd place team last year.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, Red Bull is not the team to be right now.
No.
Yeah.
But I think McLaren is, and I think both of those drivers understand. It's going to be kind of like a 2016 situation, in my opinion, where you had Nico and Lewis were both just as good as, and they both were number 1 drivers in the number 1 team. But I think, and again, we go back to like papaya rules and stupid shit like that, they're not going to screw it up.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of faith. that those 2 dumb skulls will somehow figure out a way to win the drivers.
That's the thing I think is unique about this situation too, and the reason why I don't think Oscar would leave like that. Oscar is a guy, I feel like we haven't seen a personality like Oscar's in F1, at least in a long time.
Very stoic, kind of like.
Yeah, he's super chill. He does what's best for the team. He's not going to, I mean, sure, he'll speak his mind, but I don't think he's going to be the type of guy who's like, no, I'm just going to leave, I think he has loyalty to McLaren.
I think that Oscar is more of a threat than people realize. I think he's very quiet.
That's what I
think he's very quiet.
And he's very good.
What?
I think he's very good.
He's very
No,
much.
I know.
I'll show you on the track.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah,
I
he doesn't
think
say much.
Hungry.
no,
yeah.
he doesn't say much.
Again,
He's very
hungry.
like
Hungry.
quiet. But my thing is, we've talked about this before. What my grandma said.
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. But I do think that should McLaren have this standout fastest car and Oscar and Lando fight it out for real,
Yeah.
I think it's going to get closer to Nico and Lewis than McLaren would want.
Yeah. I mean,
because Oscar, unless they say, and I think this applies to both, unless papaya rules are like, you got to let him through or you can't crash.
yeah.
Very strict rules between those two, they're gonna fight it out.
Yeah.
And I think I've said this before. Like if McLaren has the fastest car by far, and there's no like you gotta let him through, I think Oscar takes the cake 9 times out of 10.
I could see it. I
Yeah.
could see
I
it.
think Lando has more experience, but Oscar is brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oscar has more fire in him than I think people give
The
him
only
credit
thing
for.
I would say to that is that since Lando does have more experience, and I think he's learning, we've said this before, how he's learning how to win. I think since he already has that experience and he has that in his back pocket with fighting with Max Verstappen, I think that will do better for him with Oscar.
But do you think experience fighting Max means anything?
I think so. Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Because I think fighting Max is unlike fighting any other driver on the track. I
Well,
don't think fighting wheel to wheel with Max gives you any leverage over fighting wheel to wheel with Oscar.
But
or
don't
vice
you think
versa.
that Max and if you had to compare an Oscar's driving style to anyone else, wouldn't you say it's closest to Max's?
I don't think so.
No.
I think he's really clean. I would compare it more to like a young Fernando
Okay.
or maybe a younger Lewis. I think he's more clean.
Do you think Max with the kid on the way? Do you think like next year it's gonna be like a Fernando
Who said
situation?
that?
I knew
I
you were
was
gonna
gonna
say
say
that.
I knew
Fernando?
he would break because he's a wife and kids at home.
Lando, yeah.
That was Fernando. Fernando said that with Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so?
I think
That is a good point, though.
Yeah.
Don't you? I would. I mean, I don't know. I would
that is
think
a really good point. I think
because-
it's a really good question.
because
Yeah.
if you think about it this way too, Tom Brady and Giselle. You know, you had Giselle. Well, we can. That's different reasons, but
she asked him to quit, did she not?
yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so
he
I
said
feel like
no.
there is going to be a point where I don't know, things can get dicey here.
I don't think.
She comes from a racing family.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I
Like,
don't
she
think.
wanted to race herself and it
she-
didn't work out. Like,
Yeah.
It's also
Well,
like yeah.
She was involved. She did PR for Formula 2
I just think that Max.
before. That's where they met.
Do you think there's
actually.
potential that Max would, I don't want to say soften, but race cleaner having a kid than not? Because I would think he would, personally.
Nah, I don't think so. He's such
No.
a bot. Like it's like
That's
unreal.
what I say. I think that kind of like thing of like close the visors down and I just don't care anymore. Like
Yeah.
everything goes away is really real.
Yeah.
I think like
That's, yeah.
I think Charles was talking about how in the car when he's driving, when he's in control, there's no fear.
Yeah.
And there's no it's more like I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I have to do this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if he's watching his brother Arthur, then it's like I'm not in control, so I'm scared for him and I have
Yeah.
fear
Yeah.
outside of the car. I think that kind of like when that visor goes down, especially for someone like Max,
Yeah.
he's not thinking about anything else. And really, he has a kid, right? Like
True,
he may be
true.
like a bonus dad, but I think he would see
bonus dad.
like not to take it this far because this is like crazy, but should Max like knock on wood pass away, it would have the same effect on her than it would have on his own kid,
Right.
like his
Yeah.
biological kid.
Yeah.
Especially because that kid is super young. Like that kid isn't even born yet. Whereas
Yeah.
Penelope has had time with him. She's 5, I think.
P.
So I don't think it's I don't think
Little
it'll
P.
change anything. But I think it's a good point.
Doesn't love her dad as much as Max.
Bonus dad.
His dad.
Bonus.
So
Yeah,
I don't
got
know.
2 birthdays with 2 Formula 1 drivers. What are you gonna do about it?
Dude, I remember her 3rd or 4th birthday. That picture was insane.
I can only
It was
imagine.
like, I think Lando was there, Max, then Daniel Kvyat. You got some WEC guys, I think, and then like Nick DeFries and Daniel Medvedev. Like it was crazy, man.
I can't-
the sports people in that photo were insane.
I don't know why. I can't stop thinking about the rich uncle from Alvin and the Chipmunks. That's how I feel about Penelope's birthdays. Just walking in like, oh.
That kid's gonna have the easiest fucking life ever. That's all I could think about.
I don't know. I think it's hard.
I
Well,
would.
it's worse.
Motorsport is
because
different in
of
that
two
respect,
I
things.
I'd
think it's
say.
easier as a girl.
One, you always survive, but then 2, you're always gonna be like, holy crap, your dad is who? Your family's what? Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Well,
I
I
need
think
to
it's really-
go over to your house.
My aspect was more so she's never gonna have to lift a finger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's rich kids. It's
She
always
woke-
rich
Yeah,
kids.
She
That's
woke
how it
up-
works.
I think there's a difference between
Hell, there's
rich-
kids that go to school here. I'm like, why are you even in school? Your
Yeah.
father owns millions
Yeah.
of oil wells in
I
Saudi
think-
Arabia. Like,
yeah, I
Yeah,
think there's
yeah.
a difference between rich and nobody knows, like
Yeah.
knows you,
Yes,
right? Like
absolutely.
it's a rich family or come from rich, but they're like I think she has it easier because she's a girl. I think if she was a boy, it'd be different because
lot of
your
pressure.
grandfather is Nelson Piquet,
Yeah.
3-time world champion. You know, your uncle's still race. Your biological dad races. Your bonus dad, stepdad, is a 4-time world champion. Like,
That's insane.
I think that it's a lot of pressure. Like, I think that
Yeah.
and I think when you're the kid of of someone famous, every move you make from 4 years old is somehow caught on camera and can come back to bite you.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
You know,
Especially now.
you don't
Like,
get to
can't
be a
hide
kid.
from the cameras.
No,
in
you
the
can't.
past.
I
Like,
think-
today, impossible.
I think one of the things that Kelly does do a good job of though is like Penelope is a kid. Like she lets her be a kid. I think there's a lot of kids in the paddock in the past, and now is like you don't really get to see them be a kid because they're always like they're wearing these cute outfits and they can't like jump around or whatever. They're like holding mom's hand and like they're kind of like ushered towards the back, like they're kind of
Yeah.
hidden. But like she's like sitting there with like a unicorn little thing on her head and she's wearing a tutu skirt with like rainbow colors and like has glitter on her face. Like she's
Yeah.
a kid. She gets to be a kid.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't even know how we got to this conversation, but it's interesting.
I couldn't
Wait,
tell
they're
you.
not married?
Kelly and Max?
Yeah.
No.
Ooh.
So
Are they
they-
gonna get married before they have the kid?
No.
Is this I
Interesting.
always go back to this when I
Huh.
hear about something like this.
This isn't I feel like it's more normal in Brazilian culture than it is in other cultures.
I was
Definitely.
To have a kid
Huh.
without being married.
I was gonna say this whenever I hear about something like this, when there's kids involved and they're not married, I always think of Roman Atwood. I always think about
Is he not married?
Oh.
To
he
Yes.
like just recently got
Yeah.
Are
married.
you really?
Officially.
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
It
they've
took
been
me a second
together
to realize
for.
who you're talking about. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
my thing is like, not necessarily that it's not normal. It's like, well, if I'm having a kid, then that's the woman I want to be with the rest of my life.
Yeah,
But is
Getting
it?
married is really cool.
I don't want
Yeah.
to. I don't want to bring
What?
this to like.
But that's
What?
not but that's not always like in this particular case, then I think yeah.
I think the tides are changing too.
But like she had a kid with Daniel Kvyat and she's not going to spend the rest of her life with him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but at the time,
Kelly-
you know, like that's
Penelope
that. Now we're
wasn't
thinking
even
about that
one when they
now.
split.
Hindsight's always
Yeah.
20/20.
Yeah.
At the time when they had that kid, I'm sure Dan, they wanted to. Yeah, that was probably the move. But
I don't know.
It's very.
there's
tough
a reason
to
why,
say.
like divorces happen. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot less red tape that
I think
you're
I
like,
would
oh, we were never
rather-
married.
I
But
think I don't know. That's a tough because I think each person has their own viewpoint on this.
Yeah. I
and
think.
their own thing.
I think it's also changing nowadays.
Yeah.
I think I don't even know how to put it correctly.
I guess also,
I just would never want to get married because we're having a kid. I
no,
want
yes,
to get married because
right.
I
well,
wanna
that's why
spend
it's
the rest
called a
of my life
shotgun
with
wedding.
you.
Like, I mean, that's
Yeah.
genuinely what it's called. But I guess my concept, I'm not saying because you're having a kid, I would always be thinking get married and then have a kid.
Yeah. That's how.
Because-
that's how it should go.
Well, that's how
Because
that's
my men-
how it's
yeah.
supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
societally we've done it. But if you again, this is like turning into a history lesson.
I was
but
gonna
if you
say-
think back,
Ethics.
like if you think back, that kind of came about because people were getting married at 15, 16.
Yeah.
We're having kids later and later and later in life. We're getting married later in life.
I don't know about that.
The average age to have a kid is much later than it was.
I just think you look at our generation. I know we were talking about this the other day. This is happening a lot earlier nowadays.
I don't think so.
At least in my generation,
early, right? Like, what do you consider early to have a kid?
We're talking about this. I know kids who have gotten kids. They're in my grade who are 20.
Yeah.
Right, but if 100 years ago, that age was 16.
Yeah.
Well,
That's my
I guess
point.
if you're looking at
but also
like
the
an
dude
economic,
was like 35.
Historically,
yeah.
Society is having kids and getting married later and later and later.
So I mean, I guess
that's also because of the economics of the world has completely changed.
Well, I was gonna say
you can't afford to have a kid until you're like 29.
And society where we've opened up for women to have jobs, and so we want to work first. I would love to work first and then eventually have a kid and still go back to work and stuff. But
well, also, I mean, fundamentally, you could win a house at a carnival like 40 years ago.
It's true. It's true.
Like, it's
Get
like,
your house.
Again,
you just landed a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's good.
I don't know, but
let me pull out the Sears magazine real quick.
Oh my God, the Sears
magazines. Anyways, let's go back. Let's rewind.
In any case, Alonso's theory still.
Hey, we have the line open.
And scene.
And that's why he doesn't have a wife or kids.
This all comes.
If you need any relationship advice, call 1-800-LIGHTS-OUT-LATEST. We're accepting calls.
Worked for Hamilton too.
It did work for Hamilton too, yeah.
I guess, but
Does Hamilton currently have a girlfriend or no?
That dude's a bachelor for life, man.
I think he has a couple girlfriends.
Oh yeah. I don't know about his private life. I don't know what he does.
I wouldn't call it
dating
girlfriends.
supermodels.
I think he probably just.
He doesn't.
This sounds so bad. I think he probably just sleeps around.
Hey! It's fluid.
It's Lewis. Like,
apparently had a girlfriend from 2007.
He's just # blessed.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think in the last decade, we haven't really seen too many.
He was rumored to be dating Nicki Minaj.
What?
No, that's real.
He was caught
he had
in a photo.
Yeah.
Isn't Nicki Minaj taller than him? Or am I
and
crazy?
with
yes, she is.
Oh,
I was gonna say.
what's her name, dude?
I gotta find the photo now.
No, he's been rumored with a lot of people. He's recently more and more he's been spotted with a lot of Brazilians.
Okay.
A lot of
He's an
Brazilian
honorary
girls.
Brazilian.
Well,
I know
He is an honorary Brazilian.
That's a flex in itself. Hey,
that's not a flex.
Well, no, I just mean like you're walking around Brazil. You're like, I'm an honorary Brazilian. Did you know that?
Well, you remember
just a Brazilian.
the memes a few months ago where like, you have been banished to Brazil. It's like, no.
Well,
Lewis lives in Brazil.
I mean, does he though?
No. I just mean.
Because he owns what? He owns a piece of the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
He
spends a lot of time in LA.
He's not moving to Brazil.
He's not moving to Brazil.
I just meant.
Is he one of the
He
few
doesn't wanna pay
F1 drivers
taxes in
that
Brazil.
doesn't have a Monaco residence?
No, he does.
He does.
He definitely
Okay.
does. There's no way he doesn't.
If Lewis doesn't, I mean, I don't know who would.
I think Lewis probably spends less than 6 months in every place he is in a calendar year as to not pay taxes anywhere.
Right.
Is it 6 months? 3 months? Whatever.
Wow.
I don't think he spends enough time anywhere.
Not a numbers guy.
I'm not a British tax person. So.
I was told there would be no math.
I
Anyways,
was promised.
We're common business majors. We don't do math.
let's head back to F1.
After
we got, we got a little sidetracked.
Tangent.
Tangent. I'm gonna have to put that in the comments or like on the screen. If you want to skip the evolution,
Put a timestamp.
You want to stop?
Oh God.
That's too.
Lights
I
Out
would
Late.
want
It
that.
talks evolution and then timestamp.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go back to F1. Back to Red Bull, actually.
Back to reality.
Red Bull passed their crash test. I think this is the second team. Ferrari was first.
Think
Ferrari
so, yeah.
was like, I think before the new year. I was like, how do you have a car
Yeah,
that
they did
fast?
really early.
Yeah. Got prepared for Lewis, man.
Oh yeah.
Pato Award confirmed as McLaren reserve.
As you should.
I don't get it, man.
What do you mean?
Well, who else are they gonna?
We literally just spent like 20 minutes talking about the fact that even Max would be a maybe for McLaren. Pato Award's got to find a different team, man, because he's never going to make it to F1 with McLaren.
What does
Mark
that
my
mean
words.
if let's say McLaren need him for a race weekend, right?
During
and then it's
an
the
Indy-
same weekend as an IndyCar race. Who drives the
He's
IndyCar?
under contract to go unless the contract says like, hey, you have to go IndyCar first.
Yeah, because there's like
And
I
then who
would-
else do they call up?
I would say it depends on how it happens. I think should they need him, like, it's Friday and we need you Friday afternoon,
Yeah.
I think they probably just take Felipe Drugovich.
Okay.
Because he seems to be kind of the communal.
They just get somebody at the
communal
racetrack.
driver.
They just get somebody at the racetrack. It's like, hey, Paul Tracy, please get into the car.
Unless-
Race.
I think unless you
Paul
have
DeResta.
Paul DeResta is
There's
crazy.
Jensen Button going down the straight.
Yeah, he did that one.
I think unless you have a reserve who's an F2.
Yeah.
They
that's
only
there
have
that weekend.
people in F3. There's
what I'm
nobody
saying.
above F3.
Well, IndyCar is
McLaren?
basically McLaren's
yeah,
F2.
for McLaren, as part of the McLaren driver development program,
Yeah.
Pato Ward.
Their only
Is
F2
the
driver was
best driver.
Gabriel Bortoleto,
Yeah.
who
I don't
ditched them.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a problem though.
No, they're gonna call up. Then that definitely means Pato will skip whatever IndyCar weekend. Now,
Right,
thank
but my
goodness
point is-
this year Monaco and IndyCar and in the Indy 500 don't match up.
But my
so
point
he
is
not at risk there.
But
That's good.
my point is that if it's like a Friday or a Saturday and they're like, we need someone in the car,
Yeah.
they're going to take someone that's at the track. They're not going to pull him from an IndyCar weekend that's already started.
Yeah.
They've done it
Should
before.
they need someone,
They've done it
especially
before.
if it's like we're in Qatar
With, like,
and
Ali,
you're in
wasn't he
LA?
called in?
Like, no.
Yeah,
It's
that would
not
be
gonna
pretty
Drivers that had to
crazy.
drop everything and fly over instantly.
I think if it were to be
Lawson?
like a Thursday, like a media day or something, it's like, oh, we need somebody, then sure. But if
Yeah.
the race weekend has already started, I think they take whoever's at the track.
Yeah, I mean, especially since Pato is
You got a lot of options.
definitely
Valtteri.
is yeah, Valtteri would be great.
There's
I could see
a lot of
Toto
good drivers
letting
in F2.
Valtteri. I could see Toto letting Valtteri.
Isn't Valtteri though the official reserve driver for Mercedes?
He is.
Yes.
But
Did you hear about the rumor that Toto Wolff told him to drop the nude calendars? Like, by drop, I mean, like, stop doing the nude calendars.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Toto would say that.
Of course.
It's like,
yeah, I mean, Valtteri spoke about
pass.
that.
Toto,
how
you
when
need-
he was at Mercedes,
Valtteri, you need to
it was
stop.
like, there's no mullet, there's no crazy stuff.
that's crazy.
He's
no.
like-
that's his
that's it.
brand, though. Like,
Well,
that's
it
so
wasn't.
sad.
It wasn't when he's at Mercedes
Yeah.
because
No.
Mercedes said you gotta stay locked in.
Locked in, I guess.
Mercedes is like the Patriot way. I feel like,
They
what
are
I mean?
kind of like
Yeah.
that. They do kind of give like a Belichick kind of
Yeah.
like vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had Steak, which was like the Buccaneers.
Gambling website. It was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
like do whatever you want. It can't be worse than.
What we put on the track.
Yeah, for real.
Go have fun, make
Oh,
money
man,
however
that's
you want.
sad. That's sad. Can't be worse than we put on the track. It's really sad.
I mean,
Let's-
Instead of like
the numbers don't
TB12
lie.
Big numbers guy.
Instead
Yeah.
of the TB12 method, it's like the LH44 method.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to have a Tom Brady Lewis Hamilton collab.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
That'd be really funny.
I feel like they did at one. I feel like
I'm sure they
totally
did.
wrong, but
If
yeah.
we can get
Tom
Lewis on the
Brady's in
TB12
IndyCar
method.
ad, so
What?
it's only one more stretch. He's in an IndyCar ad.
Yeah.
Lewis or
Tom
Tom?
Brady.
Tom Brady is.
I mean,
yeah.
he's also part owner of a IMSA team, or he sponsored a.
Well, he owns an
And-
NFL team.
Well, I was gonna
He's a
say
part
he-
owner.
Sponsored something.
The
his
Raiders, is
no, well
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the
10% of the
Raiders.
Raiders. But I was gonna say he sponsored.
They're in the NFL owners committee
yeah,
together.
I guess.
he sponsored like an LMP car or something like that. He had
Really?
a brand on there.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
Yeah.
sponsored. I remember that last year. He sponsored the Joda Hertz Porsche last year.
What is his brand? What did he sponsor
Brady.
with?
They literally just
Oh.
said TB12.
Well,
Brady.
it's not Brady anymore
Huh.
because he actually Brady was a thing for a bit, and then he sold that to
Oh, yeah, I see it here.
what's it called?
Tom Brady is like the most nonchalant rich guy I've ever seen.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Like watching. Have you ever seen his YouTube channel?
Oh my god, he sponsored a boat too.
Have you ever seen? Has anybody ever seen Tom Brady's YouTube channel?
No.
Probably.
That is like there's a video he did because he went to the Olympics. He just casually hops like I kid you not, it was the most casual thing I've ever seen. Just casually hops on his jet with his daughter. They head to the Olympics. They meet a bunch of the athletes. They go to gymnastics. They go to this. They take pictures, whatever, and they just hop back on a plane and go back. And I'm like, right, because and the video is so casual. It's
Yeah.
not like he's bragging. He's like, oh, today we're going to like. He's just like nonchalant. Like
his
this is
house.
like this is a normal
life
day.
He never got to live
Yeah.
Yeah.
before football.
Yeah.
And there's no before football. Football has been his whole life.
Football
Yeah.
is life.
It's still his
Literally.
life, kind of in a way.
Yeah. But
So-
also, well, now he's got the Fox TV contract, and there's rumors that
That-
since he has an
yeah.
interest in racing, that he's going to help commentate The Indy 500.
That would be
That's
sick.
insane.
Like, he
No,
won't
I
be
disagree.
able
That's
to
awful.
play.
That's
Like, he
awful.
won't
I
be there.
don't think
No.
he would know enough.
Get that dork out of the freaking booth. I don't.
Hey,
like,
yo!
get him out.
The
Watch your talking about Tom
Somebody that
Brady
actually
there, my guy.
matters in the board.
IndyCar booth
board
is going to be
booth.
stacked this year.
We need
so
like Dario back.
Dario Franchitti,
Put him
he's sick.
in the booth.
the
Put
Indy-
somebody, yeah, put
Will
put
Buxton.
He is in the booth.
To win
Indy-
this race, you must travel 500 miles.
Like, I mean, they already put like Danica Patrick in the booth
I
for
hate
IndyCar, and she
Danica Patrick.
blows.
She's
I mean-
she's out of IndyCar booth.
She was,
She
though.
keeps doing
I'm saying-
commercials, and I keep seeing her on my screen. It's not even F1 season. It makes me
No.
want to,
I
like,
can't-
get her away from me.
I can't. I always think about the GoDaddy commercials from back in the
GoDaddy
day.
commercials, yeah.
Danica Patrick is the one thing that like 95% of F1 fans can agree on, besides the hating the FIA.
Yeah.
I think I sent you guys that video. It was like
Yeah.
She's just not good.
F1 fans fighting
Ray
who's
Stewart.
the best driver in F1, and then
Oh,
it's
yeah,
under
yeah,
it is
yeah.
like
Yep,
F1
yep.
fans discussing the FIA.
Yep.
It's like the same thing with Danica Patrick. It's like
Yeah.
there's like a collective. It's like
I just
no.
love how like if you this is so mean, but if you go on
boy.
YouTube and you just look up Danica Patrick like highlights, it's usually like a 2-minute long video because all she ever did in NASCAR was like come in 6th like once, and that was her. That's like her highlight, and
Her
she won the
highlight.
pole for the 500 once. Like that's her highlight video because you know you can put up like any
Yeah.
because that's a household name. People know the name Danica Patrick, right?
Yeah.
Good
Because
for
again,
her.
she was a trailblazer, female in the sport. She won
yeah.
an IndyCar race,
In
fair
that
and square.
aspect, I think she's
She
great.
was actually
Yeah.
pretty decent in IndyCar
No, I
too.
think she's great. Like as a racer, I
but
just don't
it's
think she has
just-
what it takes to commentate.
Yeah, you look up any other household name though that has some success in motorsports, and it's not a 2-minute long video of them coming in 6th once and then winning the pole one time. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
like
Well, it's the same thing. It's the start of a wave, and this is bringing NASCAR a bit, but I'll call it women motorsport influencers is what I would call it. Because you had Danica Patrick, and nowadays you have.
Sophia Flourish.
Well, I was gonna say Haley
Yeah.
Deegan,
well, Haley Deegan is
and
Yeah.
the other one. There's
the
another one in
YouTube
NASCAR.
videos destroy her because it's especially a couple years from now if this Indy Lights thing doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Her career is the craziest like what
think-
if / bust.
What
ever.
what's the other NASCAR driver that's like her? I'm forgetting what her
I
name
mean
is.
Tony Breidinger.
No,
she's
it's-
Canadian, but
she-
she's pretty cool.
I
She's
think
another influencer that I'm thinking.
there's-
of.
Natalie Decker.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I was thinking
There's
of. Yep.
some F1 Academy people that are getting up there too. Bianca
Yeah.
Bustamante, with her
Oh, yeah.
McLaren.
She's like decent though, right?
She's
Like,
pretty
didn't
good.
She do
I don't
pretty
think
good?
she's. I think that she got the McLaren contract and didn't do as well as she hoped.
Oh, okay.
So there's that. Not that she did particularly poorly, but compared to other people that don't get as much support and don't get as many views
Yeah.
on that F1 Academy grid that are now officially making the jump to I think F3 regional.
Oh, is that what's happening? Or some of those?
That's what winning F1 Academy gives you an automatic seat in F3.
Oh.
So that would have been Abby Pulling. right?
Abby Pulling.
I wonder who she's racing for in F3.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't know if it's F3 or
That's
F3
what
regional.
I'm checking out right
This is
now.
off
Is it
topic,
British F3.
but I was looking because we were talking about Lewis Hamilton,
Yeah.
and we were talking about his house in Monaco. So I looked up. I wanted to see what it looked like, and there's one of the first links is apparently he had a house in London that he was having some troubles with a neighbor because he chopped down a plum tree.
Uh-oh.
It says Lewis Hamilton risks angering neighbors again by chopping trees at his $18 million London home. And then this
That's
one says
insane.
Lewis Hamilton driver angers neighbors with plan to remove sugar plum tree.
That's crazy.
Talk about first
It's
world
so off
problems.
topic, but it was
yeah,
like so
first
silly.
world problems. Speaking of Lewis, though, can we talk about the fact that it has been yesterday? Well, I guess 2 days
Yeah.
ago for when you guys watch this.
Yep.
Marked a year since the first domino, which was Lewis Hamilton going to
That's
Ferrari.
crazy.
Like,
I
fell into
forgot
That was
how
a
early
year ago?
that news broke.
It was February 1st.
Wow.
I forgot. We
The
went through the whole
craziest thing.
season
I was
knowing.
sitting in the library, the Starbucks at Pateen Paterno when that news dropped. I was like, what?
all
I
the
think,
media.
Didn't we just come out of Com 180? when that
Yes, we
happened?
did. It was right
Yeah.
after. It was right before
With
Hall 180.
Ali, right?
With
Yep.
Ali.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Ali.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Shout out Ali.
Shout out
But yeah,
Ali.
it was like the first thing that happened that was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. And then after that there was Carlos Sainz.
Like a day later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was confirmed in my English 15 class that day.
Where we had to wait and see, like, are all these rumors true? Everybody's saying it.
Even Sky Sports was like, this is confirmed, but we hadn't heard anything from Ferrari. Yeah. And we were sitting here like, I'm not going to believe anything until one of the teams say anything. And then it was actually, here you go.
Yes.
Yep.
Actually.
But
This year.
But it is crazy to think. Yeah, we went through the whole season knowing he wouldn't be there.
Yeah, it's been
25.
a year already since, and we haven't even started the next season. His debut has not happened. But speaking of his debut, Lewis had an accident during Ferrari test in Spain. But he also had an accident during his first test for McLaren before his debut, where he won.
I was gonna say, isn't that like a
theme? It was a crash in 2007, and he won in 2008.
Yeah.
And then before his Mercedes debut, I think it was 2013.
Yeah.
And then he won in 14 and 15,
Sometimes
16.
you just gotta crash to get it out of your
17.
system.
You need to find the
Coincidence?
limits.
I think
first,
not.
Right?
So that made me really nervous. When I saw that, I was like, oh, damn it.
Damn it, he's going
Here
to
we
win the
go again.
championship.
It's that easy.
Damn it, he's going to win the championship.
Hey, rather him than Max. That's what
He
I'm
is
saying.
one of
Wow.
he is one of the few people that I will believe superstition about. He's that good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To be
Well,
like,
he doesn't need superstition. He's that good where he just drives.
Anything for
I
you,
drive.
Mr. Hamilton.
He just be driving, you know.
What'd
how
you
it
think,
He's a
the
driver.
resident Ferrari man, what'd you think about the helmets that dropped and their race suits?
is. One, I always missed the Lewis yellow.
Yellow?
Like, his best helmet was 2017. Mostly yellow, had the stars on it for his championships. So I really liked that I went back to yellow. That was his helmet for years. And then he changed it up after a few years at Mercedes. I didn't like it. Leclerc kind of expected something similar. It looks good.
Yeah.
The suits look terrific. The best.
I like it.
The best in years. Like the best since 2018. 2018 were probably my favorite.
Yeah.
No, 2017 were probably even better. So yeah, I'm really happy with the
I like
suits
the
and
suits.
helmets.
The mustard and ketchup.
What I love...
Yeah, no more McDonald's uniforms. Like 2021, right? Was that it?
Yeah.
It was pretty
The
bad.
McDonald's, that was definitely, I think it was 2021 or 2020. No, it was not 21 because that was COVID year. It was year 22 or 23.
2022 for...
I'm confused. What do you mean McDonald's?
The yellow ones?
With the suits?
No.
The
No,
banana
with the
car.
black.
Oh, the
black,
car?
yeah.
What do you mean?
2022.
How is that McDonald's, though?
I mean, Ferrari
No,
in
we're talking
itself
about
has
the
McDonald's
The
colors. for
suits.
being
It's
honest.
just a black suit.
No, it's
with the black.
It has a black bar across
The black
it.
bar
Hold on.
across it. Do we not remember this?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Man, you have
There
a
you
tweak
go.
over here. It's like-
But I think one of the things that is most special to me about Charles is what he always does with his helmet, because he always has Jules on one side and his dad on the other.
Yeah.
It says Papa and Jules on the other side, which I love. I think it's such a cute little thing that's like always on his helmet. Like you can count on it all the special helmets have it. Like every helmet, except for that one time he ran the Senna one. And he didn't even get to use it. He the Senna fan was like, no. I think that was the only time I remember.
One of the race helmets.
He does.
He was gifted. I think it was 2018 Canada.
Charles is 5'11".
What's so funny about that?
What's so
That's
funny
tall.
about that? He's taller than Lewis.
Not 6 foot. Ha.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god. It's a good thing he's not,
Oh no, it was 27.
Why?
because it's harder to be a racing driver the
That
taller
is
you
true.
are. Although
Look at George Russell.
Although Lando
George.
always had issues because he was too tiny.
He's
He'd have to
5'7".
Lando would have to get
a little guy.
Velcroed to the cart.
I think. Do you
you guys
think
hear
any?
these stories? Do you guys know this story?
No.
Lando was so light and so small as a kid that he'd have to get Velcroed to the cart so that he didn't go flying.
Hey, weight reduction, baby.
Oh
Weight
my
reduction.
God. Do
Yeah.
you think listen? We all know that TikTok, social media. There's a lot of girlies that love the Formula One
I
drivers.
feel very offended.
What do you mean? I'm saying a
feel
lot
attacked.
of. You're like a true fan. You're through and through. You know more. You know a lot.
You're about to get canceled for this.
All fans are.
What do you mean?
fans.
I don't care.
That's all I'm
Fuck
gonna
it. I'm
say.
going all in.
All
Do you think any? Do you think any of the F1 girlies would be upset to meet like Lando Norris, knowing he's like 5'7"?
Well, you know what? I actually compared to like Bruno Mars.
Yeah, but
Do you think
okay, all
anybody
right.
is
But Bruno Mars, and again,
upset to meet Tom Cruise and realize how short he is? Because I think that's kind of the comparison I would
well,
make.
no, but again, that's a very well-known thing. I know Lando's not the tallest person. I didn't know he was 5'7", though.
Well, do you know how short
You know what
Brandon
I mean?
Mars is?
He's 5'5".
I think he's shorter than
I
that.
think he's shorter than that. I think he's like 5'3".
Well,
Yeah.
how tall
Mars
is
is
Tom
small.
Cruise?
I don't really
is
care. Tom
taller,
Cruise
I
is
think.
5'6".
Tom Cruise. What was your guess?
Okay,
5'6".
Tom Cruise is
5'7".
Oh no,
Is
no,
he really?
Bruno
Yeah.
Mars is
The same height.
Oh my god.
Bruno Mars is how tall?
He's 5'5".
Ah,
Is he?
I got
Okay.
it.
I am short,
He's
so
from
I do
Hawaii.
remember
I
that.
did not know that.
Yeah, well. But nah, I mean, this is it's a
It's
goofy
so funny.
topic, but it's
I
like
don't think so.
I don't think so,
I don't
but
think anybody.
you know.
Well, okay. Here's the thing, though, right?
Uh-oh.
I think that girls care about height. Again, we're gonna go back to evolution here, right?
I am trying to talk about
no.
anything other than race cars.
The
for some
lines
reason.
are back open, guys.
We're gonna talk about evolution one more time, just one more time, and then we're never talking about this again.
Okay.
Okay.
Back, like way when we were nomads.
Back in
right?
Churchill.
Look at my
time.
notes, Sally. I start writing shit down.
Yeah, write this shit down because there is a
Class.
reason. When we were like hunters and gatherers.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
this
We're
is how
way
far back
back.
we're going, right?
Woolly Mammoth era.
Women chose men who were the best hunters, who
Yep.
were fastest, who were tallest, because they see those people
Whoever
as
had the best
who
genetic
can provide the best and then provide the best genetic offspring. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That still exists, and I think that's part of the reason why we want. And I do say we because I am a woman, so that
On
does
behalf,
include me.
on behalf of all women.
My personal, for me, that's part of the reason why I want someone tall or at
Wait,
least taller than
where
me.
are you going with this?
He's talking about tall people. Let
Yeah.
me finish.
Okay.
For when we're looking at someone as like, I want to marry this person, I want to date this person, you are looking for someone who's taller, someone who can protect you, someone who is going to protect your kids, right?
Okay.
When you're looking at a celebrity, I don't think it matters as much because it's like, this person doesn't mean anything to me. This is
Oh.
not. I'm not looking at this person in like an evolutionary mind. I'm looking at this person as like
What they do.
And
what
F1
they do,
driver.
like an
Yeah.
F1 driver, like
Like
a
an F1
big time
driver, an F1
celebrity,
driver.
like,
You're
you know,
not.
like,
Yeah.
It's less about genetics. It's more about.
That's a good
Exactly.
take. That was a
Right?
good
Can I
take.
like defend women here? We don't care that much.
Okay, it was a theoretical question.
breaking news here, guys. Women do not care.
Right. Listen, I'm gonna tell my girlfriend after this. It's like, oh, you don't care. All right. I'll say Marina said that.
She's your girlfriend. That is my point. She does care. She does care.
She does
about you.
care. She thinks I'm goofy and cool. Maybe.
Update:
Maybe.
some girls
I don't
do
know.
care.
Anyways,
Update.
Can we go back to
Put it-
another? Short, we're gonna go back to another short king. Kimi Antonelli passed his driver's test.
Look at that.
Woo. So he's at least going into F1 with his driver's license.
He can now drive the car. You love
His
to
road
see it.
test. He's British, right? No, Kimi
He's
Antonelli,
Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Italian.
Yeah.
Italiano. Last piece of news for the day.
Mm.
I hate this, and the fact that I have to keep saying his name actually makes me want to gag every time.
Mesa spin.
Mickey Temazespin. Yeah. Mickey Temazespin.
He's gotta do some more
He
spinning.
renamed himself as a hybrid athlete. He said this year I plan to participate in 5 competitions in different sports, including boxing, a triathlon, and dune buggy racing.
Wow. So
right.
that means, is he a plug-in
Any-
hybrid? I mean,
Extreme E, watch
Anything,
out.
what type
anything
of
but
MPG
Formula
is
One.
this guy
Got it.
running?
Yeah, anything but like real racing because I'm not good enough for that. Is what I got.
I
from
wonder
that.
what would happen if you just went up to him and say, what happened in F1?
Yeah, buddy. What
What
really happened there,
happened?
buddy?
They probably blame the team, and the car was bad.
No, he would blame his nationality.
And then
Well, that's valid.
Blame the sanctions.
I still can't believe how they made that car look. It literally just looked like the Russian
It was just the
flag.
Russian
It was the
flag.
Russian flag.
Yeah, for real.
It was kind of
Yeah.
funny.
It's crazy.
Oh,
But
man.
anyways, we've talked about a bit of everything.
We have. This
Yeah.
is starting to become a like a slice of life podcast.
Yeah, man.
But like
We need
Marina
F1
gave us a
back.
sermon.
The
It was
reason
awesome.
for that,
We gotta-
there is a reason
I was
for
gonna
that,
say,
and the
there's
reason
enough
for
about
that
it
Is F1
is
is
also
live.
so evident in F1 TikTok at the moment and F1 social medias. Is people are grasping at straws, man.
Yeah,
This break
yeah.
is way
Off
too long.
season.
We're talking about evolution on an F1 podcast because that's how long this break has been. And
what we do.
granted, we have like 1, maybe 2 podcasts left where this is kind of going to be probably just 1 where this is kind of going to be the norm.
Yep.
I think that goes for us, but also other F1 podcast people. Before you start getting into predictions, Drive to Survive, preseason testing, all that jazz, the liveries and stuff like that. So we are getting there eventually, but we have
Yep.
we have like 2 or 3 weeks till that happens. It's February 2nd. February 18th is the car launch, so about 16,
Nice.
17 days. So finally.
Meantime,
some cars on track,
some traction. Well, again, NASCAR starts technically this weekend, technically today.
Yup.
With the Clash, IMSA's rocking and rolling. Daytona 24 Hours is done. I'm not the biggest fan of endurance, but you know it's still cool.
Oh my gosh, I have such a story.
Okay.
Last thing, and then we load. So, thanks to Jason. I reached out to Sam, who works for branding at IMSA. And he responds back to my LinkedIn message like 3 or 4 days later, and he goes, "So sorry, we had this little race called the
Did he really
Rolex
say
20."
that?
I kid you not. He goes, "We had this little race called the Rolex 24
Don't know if
hour."
you're familiar.
Yeah, don't know if you're familiar with this huge spectacle in motorsports. But that's why I was a little busy, and I literally responded and was like, "As you should be."
That's such a cool response.
Way to flex.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just a little busy with all of these racing drivers.
Sorry about that. Just doing the 24 hour. I'll get back to you in a few days.
Get back to you in a few days.
Yeah.
Anyways,
cool.
last minute thoughts before we wrap up for the day.
I am hungry and I don't know what I'm going to get for breakfast.
Make sure to leave questions about evolution in the comments.
comments.
We'll answer them next episode.
We will research the topics and we will give you the facts.
Yes.
Again, our best podcast ever. So well done.
This one?
This one.
Hey, it just
This
gets
one.
better every week.
It gets better every week.
For the year.
I think it gets more comical.
So it was
every
kind of
week.
low,
There's
right?
nothing
But
wrong
then
with that.
next week we're better, and then better. So then every week we're just say best podcast every week. Well done.
Best
I
podcast every
guess.
week.
As
I
Tom
guess.
Brady says, the next one is my favorite.
Aw, that's
Wow.
cute. Good, Tom. That's a very cute one. I like that. I'm going to start using that one in my day-to-day life. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Podcast every week, Monday, 11:30 Eastern time. So check out this one, the next one, all of them. If you made it this far, because I don't know how many people make it this far. Granted, we were talking
Shout
about
out to
evolution.
loyalists.
So yeah, shout out to loyalists. And in the meantime, check out our social medias at Lights Out Latest on Instagram and TikTok. Bye, guys.
Bye.